Welcome to day 3 of Charlotte AutoFair. It's an exciting morning. It's just before 10 o'clock in the morning. It's been a great couple days so far, but today's when it really all comes together. We have over 2,000 cars on display through the Car Corral, the car clubs, Cars and Coffee, Southeast Spring National across the street, Heritage Invitational. It is going to be an amazing day. Last couple days, the energy's been high. Vendors have been pretty happy. Seen a lot of parts moving. The parts haulers have been busy taking stuff in and out. It's been a great time, and most of all, the weather has been absolutely perfect. Charlotte Auto Fair 2025.
This is a 1962 Buick Electra Riviera model. Now, the thing is, in 1962 was the last year of the Electra Riviera, with a quarter glass in the back, you know, and the hard top. I purchased it from a gentleman in Florida, and he had gotten it, and he was intended on making it like it is now, but he didn't know what to do with it. The car originally was bought in New York, and it had never been titled. In fact, I've kept this original, the last inspection sticker from New York that they had it inspected, the original owners. That's the reason I've left that on there. That's the last inspection sticker of the original owners.
All right, here's a car that we just absolutely had to stop and take a look at. This car was owned by Elvis Presley. And to tell us more about it is my friend Angie. Angie,
hi, nice to see you.
Car. Yeah.
So this is Elvis's 1975 Ferrari Dino. He bought it in October of '76, so it's one of the last cars that he actually purchased. He bought it after he shot his Pantera because it wouldn't start, and he wanted to
Shot his Pantera,
yes. But he wanted a nice, fast car, and the reason why he used the car a lot was because he was a captain on the Memphis Police Force. So this car, he would throw his dashboard police light in, and might pull over a few people and give them an autograph and tell them to slow down in the middle of the night.
Oh my word.
But Elvis loved this car, and it just represents the best of the best at the time. And Elvis always liked the best of the best.
Right.
And it's just so cool to imagine the king of rock and roll riding around Memphis, pulling people over in a Ferrari.
How cool would that be?
The only Ferrari probably in town at the time.
Sure.
Yep, so Elvis paid a little over $20,000 for it.
Wow. That's neat. Well, I guess if he had a Ferrari, he could catch up to those speeders.
Yes, that's the reason why he used it, so he could catch up with them. Yep.
So if I shoot my F-150 tonight, do I get a Ferrari tomorrow?
Hey, if you got $20,000.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, it's so nice to be here at Auto Fair. Last time Elvis was here was 2019. So it was great to be able to bring Elvis back to Auto Fair because Elvis was such a car guy that if this was around when he was here, he would be all under these cars and test driving them and trying to take them out on the racetrack. That's totally what he would be doing.
Well, I think everybody kind of equates Elvis with, the Cadillac, right?
Yes.
But he was really into
all kinds of cars. Cadillacs, Lincolns. We have an MG that was his that he actually used in the movie Blue Hawaii because he flew it over there to use on the island while he was driving around. It was his personal car.
Right.
He shows up on set in this red sports car, and in the very beginning of the script it says Elvis or Miley's driving a white sports car, but they didn't have one. And then Elvis shows up in this red one. They're like, okay, white's now red.
Right. Correction.
Yeah, but Elvis was just a car guy. Yeah. And it's like when he bought the ranch in '67, not only did he buy everyone a horse and he bought everyone saddles, but he bought them all trucks so that they could get the saddles to the horse on the ranch. So all kinds of cars. He would drive buses cross country in the '60s when he was going to LA to film movies.
Wow.
He actually loved to be everyone's chauffeur.
Yeah.
He didn't like to be chauffeured around. He loved to drive cars, and his daughter Lisa was the same way.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm. Nice meeting you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And Elvis too.
Yeah. You heard it here, Charlotte Auto Fair.
Well, this is a 1911 Oldsmobile Limited. The body on it is a Tourabout, which was basically a sporty 4-passenger vehicle. It was made in Lansing, Michigan. And they only made the Limiteds for 3 years, 1910, 11, and 12. So this is the middle of that time period. And this is one of 2 limited Tourabouts that remain. We found it about 4 years ago. It was a running, driving car, but it needed a lot of good loving. So we basically took it down to the bare frame and re-restored it.
Wow.
It is a 6-cylinder, 707 cubic inch engine, basically rated at the old ALAM rating system of 60 horsepower. It has probably the most noticeable of the size of wheels, the 43 by 5 wheels were the largest of any car in that time period. And their marketing Oldsmobile did was that it helped the ride, smooth the ride out on the early roads. These wheels are basically wood spoke wheels, brakes on the rear only. There's a lot of things about the car that you still see in later Oldsmobiles, like the 4-speed transmission. The pattern's the same. Basically, it's a very fast, technologically advanced vehicle for 1911.
Right. What would be some of the features on this vehicle that we no longer see in modern vehicles?
Well, first of all, this gear down in the front left wheel is actually driving the speedometer, and you don't see that the same in the later model cars.
Right.
It is a dual ignition, so you would actually start it on the battery, and then once it's running, you flip it over to magneto, and so it would run firing the spark plugs from the magneto. It is a 6-cylinder, as I said, so there's 3 different jugs, as we call them, or cylinders that each house 2 pistons. It was pretty advanced at the time because a lot of cars back then were basically splash oiling systems. They weren't pressurized, but this is a combination of pressurized oiling and the splash. So it was in a transition period of the technology.
So no oil pump.
No oil pump.
Right. What about a water pump? What's the cooling?
Yeah, the cooling system is normal, what you'd see. It's a water pump that drives through the radiator, and it's pretty standard. It's a single barrel updraft carburetor by Rayfield, which is no longer heard of anymore. But it's a nice platform for the larger engine, smoother ride. It's a fast vehicle, but with the brakes on the rear only, you have to plan on stopping. So it's a really nice running car. It's a handful to drive because there's no power steering. These side lamps, we were in a transition in this period from kerosene rather, and there's a wick in here, so it was kerosene and also electric, and you could fire it either way. The lens in the front gave it a little bit better optics. Likewise, the headlights, those are actually acetylene-fired gas lights, but they are in a period of time where they had aftermarket add-on electric bulbs added as well.
Great. And is it electric start or is it hand crank?
Well, originally it was hand crank. You could get a spark start with the acetylene tank and the igniter into the jugs, but this particular car has had the electric starter added.
Right.
Because to try to crank that over by hand, it takes a much bigger guy than me. So it is now with electric start, and it starts pretty easy.
Great. And can we hear the horn operating?
Well, it has a bulb horn on this side where you squeeze it.
Okay, yeah, let's have a look at that.
And then it has an electric horn too. When the car is running, it's hard to hear the horn.
Yeah.
But the electric horn that's on the other side is also much easier to hear.
Right.
You change the tires basically with what you see here, unbolting from these lugs. This part stays on the axle and this part comes off with the tire. And that's when you're on the road, you would just take and exchange that outer ring.
Wow, that's amazing. Is that
It was because of the large wheels, it had two running boards. You had to actually climb up into the car. So it was known for the double running board.
Right. Well, that's amazing. Thank you so much, David, for your time and showing us your beautiful
Quite
vehicle.
welcome. This is a 1914 Simplex. It was made in New York City, and you would buy this car without the body on it. It was basically a drivetrain with the cowl and the hood, and then you would send it to a custom body maker. And this particular car was made at Simplex in New York City, and it was then sent to Holbrook, which was also in New York, and they put this body on it. And it was basically to the owner or the buyer's specification. This car is basically all aluminum, from a cast cowl to some of the other panels in there. Holbrook body was done in this case with a single jump seat in the back, and so this particular car was a 6-passenger touring. You'd have 2 in the front, 3 in the back with 1 jump seat, which would give you 6 passengers.
Room for the mother-in-law.
Room for the mother-in-law. Well, this car also has a bar. It's got 2 liquor cabinets on the side there, and glassware goes above, so we sometimes say that's the bartender's seat. One unique thing about this is it's a 4-cylinder car. It's basically 50 horsepower, and they called it a long stroke. Large piston, 5-inch piston by a 6-inch stroke made it a long stroke car. And this particular car is not shaft driven, but is chain drive. And so you see the gray covers, the chains are actually in those covers. And so you would have a transaxle in the middle of this car that would then come out to either side with chains that come back to the wheels. And you would adjust the chains from this point here. This particular car was very fast. It was bodied many times in the speedster configuration and raced. So it had a good reputation of being a very fast, sporty automobile.
Yeah.
This particular car is again a 4-speed.
And a right-hand drive as well.
Right-hand drive. They were all in 1914 Simplex made right-hand drive.
Right.
But again, this body is aluminum, and this took us about 3 years to restore as well. It was finished 3 years ago, and we've enjoyed showing it since then.
Yeah.
And this particular car is known for its history of touring. The fella I bought it from had owned it 35 years, and he would drive it, not trailer it, to a tour start, and then drive the tour and then drive home. And sometimes those were 2,500 to 3,000 mile tours. So he put this on the highway regularly, and he threw stuff in the back, and Lucy, his wife, would sit up front with him, and they'd go cross country, and it's just like it was a modern car.
That's amazing.
They stayed off the main highways, but they could go on the main highways if they wanted.
How does it go in the weather with the?
Yeah,
it has clears on the sides?
It does not. This particular car only has tonneau covers. So the back would be covered up. The front has what they call a gypsy curtain that goes from here to here. And basically it would deflect a lot of the wind and rain off. Right. But it is, in a blowing rain, you get wet.
Yeah. And what would be the cruising sort of speed?
This one could be anywhere from 60 to 70 miles an hour as well.
Wow.
We've had it on a couple of tours now, and you know, we'll get up 55, 60, as long as there's an open stretch, because again, this car only has rear wheel brakes as well. So
Okay.
you don't want to get going too fast and have to stop quickly.
Yeah, yeah. There's quite a lot on the dash here for the age of the vehicle. What have we got here?
Okay, well, it got a pressurized system for pumping up the gas, because the gas in the back is low, and to get it to the front, that Simplex top left gauge is basically one that reflects the pressure in the gas tank. So you'd pump up the gas tank till you hit about 2 to 3 pounds, and then that would put enough pressure to get the gas to the carburetor. That's that wood handle knob there that you'd use to prime that pressure. And then you could also use it to basically inject into the cylinders gas, which is the next dial over, and then there's some other in there that helps with the carburation. But you basically had the very basic of instruments, no water temp, electric, so you get amperage and you know what your voltage is, and so you know where you're getting enough power to the lighting system, because this is the first year that Simplex put all electric lights on cars. And so this particular car has got enough information to know, are you still generating enough power. And this particular car as well, in 1914, was the first year for what they called a starter generator. Mm-hmm. So this is a factory starter that also on the backside of it generated power to run all this electric. So they were getting very creative in this period of time, going from chain drive to starter generators to, you know, different systems on fueling and carburation. It was a really interesting time.
Yeah. So what happened to Simplex as a manufacturer of vehicles?
Well, Simplex, the year after this was built, actually bought a company called Crane. And Crane had a very innovative engine design as well. Crane came into Simplex, and they became Crane Simplex cars. And they built cars for about another 3 to 5 years. There's some debate on whether you could still get a car much later, but that was a very tough time leading up to World War I that a lot of these car manufacturers did not survive. And
right.
Crane Simplex did not. This particular car was an outgrowth of Simplex, Mercedes Simplex in the early 1900s, when the Simplex side of it came to the U.S. and was being built now in the U.S., and that's when they became Simplex Automobile Company. So they transitioned from Mercedes Simplex to Simplex, owned by Smith and Mabley, and then to Crane Simplex.
Right.
So it was a transitional period, but this particular car, when it was new, the drivetrain without the body was $4,500. And then the whole body added to it was another $2,500. So you'd have $7,000 in this car when you took it from the factory.
Well, what a beautiful vehicle. Thank you, David, so much for your time. It's been very fascinating. You have a great rest of your show.
Thank you.
Yeah, take care. Glenn, how long have you been coming to the auto fair?
Oh, last probably 15 years.
15 years?
Yes, sir.
That's great. I'd love to hear about your beautiful vehicle here. So what have you got here?
Got a 1969 Dodge Dart GTS M code, meaning 440 big block, automatic car, factory equipped, no options, no warranty. And that's exactly the way it was bought and sold. It's been completely restored back to factory specs from the ground up. Everything's been replaced with new old stock parts. Everything's been completely gone through and built back to factory specs. And it's about as original as we can get it. Factory B5 blue, front of factory, black interior. dog dish hubcap, red line tires. If you didn't check the box on the bill sheet or the order sheet, you got the dog dish hubcaps and the red line tires. The Hemi 426 Hemi was the monster of the Mopar back then. It was a beast. But if you prepped and tuned a 440 to a quarter mile, as some cars had been done, a Hemi didn't stand a chance because of the weight distribution. So,
Right.
440 was an all-around. It was a truck motor. They put it in trucks. They put it in the big Imperials, the Chrysler New Yorkers, and they stuck it in a Dart. So, but it was a good durable engine. Chrysler built a good engine back then, and they stuck it in here, and they were proud of it. It was actually cast around the steering gear, and they had to remodify the extra long plug warp because they couldn't run it under here. They had to go down here and come in the back way.
I see. So
That was a fact that
no room for power steering or AC or anything like that?
they said no on power steering or brakes. There was 160 of these built, probably less than 50 that we know of that's still in the registry of them, and they were kind of unique for what they were. We run 110 racing fuel octane in it, and that makes it a little more peppier. So
Excellent. Looks like it'll be a lot of fun to drive.
it is.
Yeah.
It will scare you. Being an automatic, yeah, it will change your pucker factor in the seat.
Good luck for
Yes,
the
sir.
judging, and what a beautiful vehicle.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
We're here at the Charlotte AutoFair 2025. I'm here with Jenna from Casey's Cool Fuel.
Hi.
Hi Jenna, how long have you guys been coming to the AutoFair?
As a company, we have been coming for a little over 30 years. As a person, I've been coming about 10 years now.
That's great. And tell me about some of the items that people can find here at your stand.
We sell reproduction parts for antique gas pumps, as well as other automotive memorabilia. We've got right behind me some porcelain signs. We carry vinyl decals, tabletop lamps if you don't have a pump, a little bit of everything. We have a reproduction gas pump. It comes with your choice of whatever globe you want, any decal you want for it. They're a lot more lightweight and a lot more price friendly than an original gas pump. To most people, it doesn't make a big deal. It's just something cool to stand outside your garage. We had a great 25. Hornet's Nest is making a lot of changes that makes us excited to come back and see even bigger how next year is going to be. Come find out for yourself. If you're not here, you're missing out.
Ladies and gentlemen, your 2025 Charlotte Motor Speedway Elvis Festival champion, Mr. Moses Snow.
You never know what you're going to see at AutoFair. Take a look at this. Who would have thought you'd see a mirror polished Cybertruck at AutoFair? That's wild.